if you want this contract, for example, they can.
What is a trade union?
Which means some organization of the FTW. Yeah.
Who always in the check the road?
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
If that's called the trade union.
They always
Protesting against.
Yeah.
Salary increase,
Yeah.
6,000, 7,000, 8,000, but then they just increase 100.
Oh, better than none.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, really. So, but then it does not mean that any worker cannot be terminated once you join the trade union. Okay. So, another situation would be your sick leave pay. Employer cannot terminate you under paid sick leave. So once the sick leave is ended, your employer can terminate you.
Yeah.
Same as pregnancy situation actually.
Not during.
Yeah, but then after.
Yes, after.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Still can. Yeah. So if you are dismissed unlawfully because of sick leave pay, then you will be entitled to sick leave allowance and extra 7 days wages. Not extra 1 month, different from pregnancy, only 7 days. Yeah. Okay. This one is actually the same, but then there's one thing to highlight is that if the employer gets convicted because of unlawful dismissal, which is a criminal conduct, then the court may order the employer to pay you further compensation. This is under the criminal jurisdiction, apart from the civil compensation. If the criminal court thinks, oh, the employer actually is criminally liable for unlawful dismissal, they will order the employer to pay you compensation as well. Under the criminal, it depends on the judge as well. It does not have a term, like it does not say, oh, it's a sick leave pay or something, because it's under the criminal jurisdiction, different from the civil jurisdiction. Right. Another situation would be work injury, which we have touched upon just now. So, if you are injured because of the performance of the work, your employer cannot terminate you until the Labor Department issue a certificate of assessment, or you guys have actually reached a settlement as to the compensation. So the employer's dog biting you would fall under the work injury as well. How about remedies if you are unlawfully or unreasonably dismissed? So you have to lodge a claim in writing within 3 months from the termination. But then the Labor Department can actually extend the deadline to 6 months. For example, you guys claiming you don't know your right, then the Labor Department have the discretion to extend the time limit to 6 months. Yeah. But then, if you have a dispute, if the employer and you have a dispute as to whether you are unreasonably or unlawfully dismissed, then the deadline would be actually 9 months. And when you file a claim to the Labor Department, you have to fill in a separate form for claims for remedies and send to the employer by registered post. So to notify the employer that, oh, I'm actually claiming against you. So the employer can actually have a chance to file defense, for example, see what they have to say. So what can you get, like what the court can order? First, continuation of the contract if you guys still have mutual trust upon each other. So what about if you guys don't want to continue the contract? What can you get? Well, similar. Your award for terminal payment, if you have not worked for 2 years or like 5 years and not entitled to severance or long service payment, then the terminal payment will be calculated with the same formula but using the actual length of the service. Remember we talked about the long service and severance payment calculation formula. It's similar, but then it will be pro rata. And then also the award for compensation for unlawful dismissal. The court will award this if you are unlawfully dismissed. And for sick leave. So when will you be entitled to a sick leave pay? If the three conditions are satisfied: one, you have enough unused sick leave before start of the sick leave, and two, there's a medical certificate from registered medical practitioner showing the sick leave period, and three, you are continuously sick for 4 days or more. 4 days. Yeah. So, but then one thing to note: if the medical practitioner only give you 3 days sick leave, you don't get paid, right? But are you still able to be entitled to rest? Yes, you're entitled to rest, but just that you don't get sick leave pay.
I'm wrong.
But then, even if you meet the above three conditions, you won't get sick leave pay if the injury is actually caused by your serious and willful misconduct. But then, accident or careless mistake is not your willful misconduct, right? And if the injury is a work injury, so what can you claim? Sick leave pay, work injury pay, or both? Both.
How about if, let's say you have surgery?
Surgery. Then that's the employer has to pay for the medical expenses, right? That's another thing. The agreement. And not both. Remember.
Sorry, can she?
She has to pay for it.
Oh, she has to.
But then you cannot claim both of work injury and sick leave pay. If the injury is a work injury, then you can only claim work injury, the payment for work injury, because otherwise you get double compensation, and the court won't allow that. So if you are injured at work, like the dog bites you, the employer's dog bites you, then you can claim, what you can claim is work injury pay. So let's move on to calculation. We don't have calculation for the role play, but I'll highlight some points and leave you to take a look at examples. So one of the points to highlight is that your sick leave pay is actually calculated daily, and your paid sick leave days. So how much days you have for your sick leave? For the first year, there are 2 days per month for the first year. And then there are 4 days per month in subsequent years. So starting from the second year, you will have 4 days per month for your sick leave. It can accumulate actually for your sick leave period. So if you don't get sick, so your sick leave day will be accumulated. So when there is a period where you get sick, and there would be a situation as to whether you can get sick leave pay, right? Remember, there are 3 conditions. You have to accumulate enough sick leave pay, enough sick leave period for you to get the payment, right? So it depends on how many days you have accumulated. So work injury. Work injury, we have touched upon this as well in previous lesson. So if you're injured because of work, for example, you're feeding the dog, employer's dog, and the employer's dog bite you, then will it be considered as work injury? Yes, right. So if you are on your way to, if you're on your way back home after your holidays, and you get hurt, got hit by a car, for example, will it be considered as work injury? No?
Oh,
yes, 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 exactly. But then it cannot be self-harm. Like if you commit suicide, that does not count.
Yeah, suicide is not counted.
Yeah. And if you are under alcohol influence or drug influence and you get hurt, it does not count as well. Because it's your mistake, right?
Yeah.
Your willful.
Nobody asked you to
So
drink.
when you're
alcohol.
holiday, you go hiking and you have accident there.
Then it counts, right?
It counts.
Yeah, it counts. I remember I give this give the example.
I answer because I remember my employer told me it counts. No matter during your Sunday holiday, no matter what you do,
Exactly.
it still counts.
Oh, your employee is so good.
Yeah, but about the union, is the about trade union?
You're on sick leave. You're on rest day. How come the employer responsible?
She told me no.
Yeah, so it's good. But remember, we come here to learn the law, not learn what happened to everyone. Right?
Yeah, your employee is so good.
But about the trade union, she don't allow me to.
So we separate again one by one. Like what Amanda says, sick leave, when you get sick or when you get injury and you get the certificate from the doctor, you get the sick leave.
Yes.
Yeah, no matter it's about work or not work. But work injury is different. Work injury must be related to work.